The Los Angeles Clippers, who are in a bit of a tailspin at the moment. They go to Orlando on Thursday and they get tattooed by the Magic, lose by 28 points. It's been an awful road trip, a whole bunch of injuries. Kawhi Leonard is still out. Bradley Beal is done for the season. Just a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Like everywhere. Right? Derek Jones, who got hurt in Boston, he's out for 6 weeks. Which is, good because that looked really bad, that injury in Boston. Yeah. I look up and down at some of these numbers, ET, like 22nd in the league in offensive rating, 24th in defensive rating, 25th in net rating, 28th in turnover percentage, 29th in pace, so they're playing really slow as well. They're not defensive rebounding. They're not offensive rebounding. They give it up a whole bunch of second chance points. They give it a whole bunch of fast break points. The Magic, I think, had 41 fast break points in this game. The Magic had 41 fast break points. I know Orlando's playing faster this year, but that number jumped off the page to me. They're 30th in the NBA in opponent points off turnovers. So they're giving up a lot of points when they're committing turnovers. What do you see with this Clippers team? I mean, the injuries aside, they were playing poorly before the injuries. Like the injuries maybe have, exacerbated the situation. But what do you think of the state of the Clippers right now?
I just think they just missed their window. I think they truly missed their window, and they tried to put a Band-Aid over. I don't know. They finished the season so well last year. They went 18-3. Besides the OKC Thunder, they were at a high level. I mean, when you break it down, if it wasn't for a tip-in going into the playoffs, they could have advanced and went far. James Harden's playing pretty well at this time too. I just don't think they just have a great team. You went and got John Collins. I think you kind of, he's been the least amount production for the whole, he's been since he was a rookie. He's not going in a high level. I think the fact that you have to rely on James Harden so much at this age is saying how much of a struggle that you have. You look at Bojan Bogdanovic, even though he had a couple great years, he's still coming back from injuries. I think like right now, that same recipe of just winding and grinding, let James Harden cook, I just think it's just ran its course. And I just don't think they have enough firepower. They're tweeners. They're either going to be stuck on trying to rebuild or I would say make trades, but they don't really have any trade value. And this is what happens once again, where I think it shouldn't shock us when you lose a player like Norman Powell. Norman Powell was at an all-star level. But at another point, I think we took for granted Norman Powell's pace and his presence. I think he could play any type of way where it molded well to that team. He could play in transition. He could shoot, catch and shoot, or he could take it off the dribble and put pressure on the rim. And I think when you lose a guy with that type of energy, it's going to do so much for your team. And I think they're missing him along with other valuable basketball players. Yeah,
I think they underestimated the overall value of Norman Powell. Like Norman Powell was part of the heart and soul, but beyond the production. And he was, I thought he deserved to be an all-star last year. I thought he should have gotten one of those injury exemptions.
Shout out Brian, huh?
Exactly.
Right.
He brought a lot to that locker room. You go back to the preseason when everybody thought the team was going to struggle after Paul George left. He was the guy going, nah. Addition by subtraction. Like he was out there saying some things. Like he was setting the tone for that team in the locker room. He's gone. And even before they lost Bradley Beal, it was clear Bradley Beal wasn't a replacement.
He's only averaged 8 points a game. It was done. Yeah.
Also the least surprising thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just assuming Bradley Beal was going to excel in a 6-man role after never really playing it. I never really bought into that. So losing Norm Powell was a problem. The biggest shocker for me, though, is how bad this team is defensively. Like, if you sitting there saying, like, all right, they're 22nd in offensive rating. All right, well, you lose some guys. I can see that. You're too over-reliant on James Harden. Fine, whatever. I can see them being middle of the pack or worse offensively. That's not a shocker.
Yeah.
But this was the third best defensive team in the league last year. You mentioned that stretch they went on, in the final month or so of the season. That was spearheaded by what they did defensively. They were great on that end of the floor. Zubac was a top defender. Kawhi, elite defender. Yes, Kawhi's been out, but again, even before that, they were not good defensively. And listen, I was watching the Ty Lue press conference after the Magic game, and some of the things he said, and I want to get your take on how you interpret what it means when a coach says something like this. He said, we need more physicality from the guards. We're not up on pick and rolls. The guards are not getting into the ball. The low man is late. When I hear stuff like that, I think effort. I think a lot of that's effort plays. They're not getting maximum effort from the guys out there on the floor, and that to me is troubling.
Yeah, well, you take a step further, it's mindset. Like, it's how you set the tone. It's tenacity. Like, we just brought up Norman Powell. It's like, no, he was into the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was fighting over screens. Like, they were all on one accord, where I think when it's coming down to communication, and I think when you're sitting here in the locker room, it's being like, hey, defense, you got to be on one stream. What's going on in practice? What's going on, like, in a game, and what's the identity? And once again, like we said, that's an example of them losing their identity, because last year they were top 3 in defense, and now we're saying, like, you have a problem if you're a guard in this league and your coach says you don't get into the ball, or like you're a heavy pick and roll team and they're talking about you're not pulled over early. Like, that's rudimentary. Like, if you get that done early, if you get that handled, your opportunity will raise, you know what I mean, in order to win games and put yourself in a successful position. But now that's common sense. So we got to think about personnel, and are they able to do that? You have James Harden out there right now, where, you know, obviously he's never historically been a great defender. You have, you're giving John Collins minutes, and it's like he's never been great in pick and roll. Zubac's been trying to figure it out, but you got young guys like, was it Kobe Sanders?
Yeah, but Chris Dunn is still out there. Chris Dunn's a good defender. Like, what? I don't understand how this has been such a precipitous decline. Like, if you had fallen back like to like 10th or whatever, I might say, all right, personnel is a bigger issue. But being in like close to the bottom 5 in the league in defense stuns me. And if you listen to Ty, it sounds like he's not getting maximum effort from his guys.
Yeah, 1,000. That's an understatement.
Yeah, crazy. I don't know what they do either. I don't know how they turn it around. I mean, I guess you just cross your fingers and hope Kawhi comes back, but I'm not sure that solves the problem either.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the same team. Like we said, he finished the season 18-3 last year. So, I mean, that was a quarter of, you know what I mean? That was a quarter of the season. So sometimes when you have this veteran type team, even though like it's scary that like a veteran team's going through this, at the same time, they also know what they can do. And they'll be like, hey, man, basketball is a game of runs. Say by the time we hit January, all we need to do is keep this thing close. And they might be arguing like, hey, we're just hurt right now. Like, in their mind, we're just hurt right now, as opposed to anything else that occurred. They're just 6 months removed from playing high-level basketball, or some of the best basketball in the league. So I want to give Ty Lue a little bit more credit, because I've always thought he's done a great job as a coach. I want to give him credit to try to figure it out, because you can't trade. You can't go get trades. It's not much like there's going to work for. You have to stick here and work yourself out. And I believe, you know, a locker room full of vets and guys have had championship experiences. I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt. If not, you know what I mean? Shout out Ballmer for trying to turn up Inglewood.
You got the All-Star game there. Congratulations. You got the All-Star game in Inglewood. Look, I think Ty Lue's one of the best coaches in the league. I had him in my top 5 in the preseason rankings at SI. I think Jeff Van Gundy is among the best defensive minds in the league. That's why this is so startling. Like how they can't get maximum effort from them on the defensive end of the floor. I don't. Well, you know what's the craziest part of all this, to spin it big picture? Like, you got Oklahoma City sitting out there with their first round pick. Like the Thunder own the Clippers' first round pick. I tweeted this out on Thursday night. Like, the Thunder are really going to win 70 games, go back to back, and then draft like AJ DeBanza with the Clippers pick in next year's draft. It's wild. Wild.
That is crazy. And then they owe the Sixers a couple picks too, right?
Yeah, they've got a lot of pick obligations.
They missed their window, bro. They just missed their.
And injuries cost them there, like Kawhi's injuries over the years, certainly. Like, people go back and do that.
When Kawhi tore his knee, that should have been like a flagrant 2. Like, that literally was like the most. I'm just saying, bro, like, when you break it down, he was on his way to the chip. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Although in some ways you can kind of predict, you know, Kawhi Leonard knee injuries were going to be coming. Like, it was a roll of the dice. It was a roll of the dice